Welcome to Courageous Leadership Conversations. I'm Vera Turner. Our topic today is focused on using data to inform classroom instruction and to improve student achievement. Joining us to share his insights on the topic is Dr. Robert Green, Superintendent of Collinsville Community School in Illinois. Welcome, Dr. Green.
Thank you.
What specific strategies has your district used in implementing data to improve classroom instruction?
Well, first, we tried to get absolute buy-in to everybody. You know, we want to develop a culture that we focus on instruction. We want kids to be better. We want them to do better academically. Obviously, improving test scores is part of it, but the side benefit is that students learn to read, they learn to do math, they learn to do the things they need to do. So that was our first challenge, is establish that culture, and we had to develop relationships to do that. We also had to develop, I call it a top-down and bottom-up and sideways, making sure everybody is involved and that everybody's important, regardless of your role in the school district. We focused on training our school board on the value of using data. They were used to obviously looking at financial data, so that wasn't a problem, but when we started saying, really what we're about is academics, how do we then utilize the financial data to improve the academics, and vice versa. In about a year and a half, we've been able to pull all that together.
What do you believe, in general, the role of the superintendent is in answering these particular issues?
Well, I think the role of the superintendent, obviously, is to be the instructional leader of the district in all regards, and make sure that you can facilitate, that is, bring about the things you need to do in an instruction. And in challenging times, there are ways to do it. You just have to be creative and communicate well and have the follow-through.
What is the one achievement that you're most proud of in this area?
Looking at where we started and where we are now is getting everybody focused on academics as our mission, as our most important thing, and realizing that some of these other things that seem to gather a lot of attention are important, but maybe not as important as what goes on in the classroom. So we've got everybody rowing in the same direction, rowing the boat in the same direction, so we're very pleased about that. We've also negotiated with our teachers union to set up a designated time each week that they can look at data, and we can do staff development time. So we're very excited about that.
Do you have a specific story that you can share with us that demonstrates your success in improving student achievement either at the school level or the classroom level?
When I arrived in Collinsville, we were largely focusing on the state achievement tests that are given once a year. We did have some software in the district that allowed us to assess student skills at various points throughout the year. So once I found out what we had and what we could do, I said, we'll use that as our platform to get us going. So I'm proud to say we've got that going in all of our schools, and I've just reviewed the data from the third quarter testing, and we're showing success at every school. So very pleased about that. Now, other longitudinal data, we don't have it yet, but we are showing that we are having student growth.
What is your biggest lesson that you've learned thus far, given the work that you've done, that you would share with other school leaders?
Well, I would say first thing is don't take anything for granted. Don't assume anything. For example, don't assume your principals know how to look at data. Don't assume your teachers know how to look at data. Those are very important pieces. So we did an assessment of what people knew, and then we got those answers back and we looked at them. We said, well, let's go out and eyeball it and see what's actually going on to see if they really know how to do it. And as a result of that, we knew that we needed to do more training with our principals and also more training with key teachers. So we brought them all together for 4 days of training on the use of our particular data piece.
Your district participates in the Closing the Gap Turning Data into Action project. How has participating in the communities of in practice influenced your work at your district level?
Well, I think it's helped because we've been talking to practitioners around the country, and we've gotten some good ideas from them, and hopefully they've gotten some ideas from us as well. But it's excited our community to be recognized in this way, and we're very proud of our schools, and we want to boost our student achievement. And we think this is a great way to help us kickstart that and get it going in the right direction.
I'm so glad to hear that your experience has been helpful for you. Is there anything else, Dr. Green, that you and I haven't discussed at this point that you think is important to be able to share to other school leaders about the work that you're doing in your district?
The next step for us, we've developed the time for our teachers. We're calling that professional learning communities, although not officially. We didn't want to scare them with a new term or a new initiative, but that's essentially what we're doing. We've also invested heavily in the use of data, how to interpret it, understanding the software that we have. Our next step will be common formative assessments. So we're in the process of introducing formative assessments to our staff this spring and starting to train them. And then next year, that'll be our focus to develop that. And with the PLC time, or professional learning community time, we've also figured out how we can get all of our first grade teachers talking to one another. But we want them to feel comfortable with their new skills and what they're doing. The other side of that, too, is for the first time, our teachers will be sharing their weaknesses as well as their strengths. So we've had to keep that in mind and reassure them over and over that, you know, we're not going to evaluate you based on your weaknesses. What we will evaluate you on if you're not working to improve those weaknesses. So we're trying to sell it in that way so that you know, for example, 2 first grade teachers can share, well, I did horribly on this, but you did very well. What did you do that's better? And that's the real power of common formative assessments. And I've seen it happen in other districts that I've been involved with, and we'll see it happen in Collinsville.
Thank you so much, Dr. Green. It has been a pleasure talking with you, hearing your personal insights, but also the lessons from your district, which has been very informative. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. For more Courageous Leadership Conversations, visit our video channel on YouTube. This episode of Courageous Leadership Conversations was made possible by a generous grant by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation as part of the Closing the Gap, Turning Data into Action program.